What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about big plot points from Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you haven't played the game yet, I highly recommend that you give it a try and then come back and watch this video. But with that being said, I hope you enjoy. The message of the story is about learning how to let go, and at the same time it's also about loss, grief, and pretty much everything else you can think of when it comes to losing loved ones. But what if someone said they had the power to bring them back? Bring them all back? Would you listen? Would you believe it? Would you give in, or would you let them go? And would you see through the lies? Now, before I get too much into the story, I wanted to talk about some of the characters, and of course, I'm going to start off by talking about Star-Lord, because he is the main character, and we witnessed the game through his eyes. Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, grew up on a farmhouse with his mother Meredith Quill. His father is from a whole other planet, and is actually the king of it, therefore making Star-Lord the prince of it, and that paints a pretty big target on his back for his father's enemies. But when the time comes to defend him and his mother, he is given his father's weapons, which are made of a magical sort of smart metal. And see, that makes it even more deep when he is shown his promise by the Matriarch. It gives him a chance to save her, and it gives him a chance to hug her again.
We have so much time to make up for.
Let go of me. Stop. Stop hugging me.
Peter, what are you doing?
I'm sorry.
This isn't funny. Put that down, young man. I don't understand.
Now, Peter, while it's distracted, we can reach Nikki.
He ultimately breaks free from the promise and finally accepts that there was nothing that he could have done to save her. Raccoon was tested on by scientists on Half-World. He was part of an experiment to see if they could advance the evolution of creatures by making them human-like. There were others with him that were tested on, but none of them made it out of Half-World alive. Also, they don't say a lot about Rocket's promise. All he really talks about is that he knew it wasn't real pretty quick. Groot, the humanoid talking tree, is from planet X and is part of an alien race called the Floor Colossus, who were wiped out by unknown forces. Groot, being the last of his kind, chooses to stick with Rocket and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, he can't understand pretty much every language, but he can only speak 3 words.
I am Groot.
Gamora, the fiercest woman in the galaxy, was raised by Thanos. No, not that one. Yeah, there we go. Also raised beside her was her sister Nebula, who we don't actually get to see in this game because...
If I had just been better at protecting Nebula, maybe she wouldn't be dead.
Whoa. What? Nebula's dead? How? By who? Tell me, so I can find him and shake his Kratak in hand.
By me.
Which is kind of upsetting because she is a pretty interesting character in the movies, and I feel like the reason they chose that route was because there was already a lot of characters in this game, and they didn't want to add more. But I'm going to keep my hopes up for the next game, because no one is actually dead unless you see it happen in these kind of stories. Drax the Destroyer. See, I'm a big fan of the movies, but the thing that I'm not a fan of is the fact that they had to nerf the hell out of Drax and make him more of a joke character than a serious, brutal warrior. And actually, in this game, they managed to do both with this character.
Alright, pretty sure that baby's our ticket upward. Somehow.
It is neither a baby nor a ticket. It is a reactor. Beast. Fin Fang Foom! Come and face your death!
What are you doing? We can't get the drop on him if he knows we're here.
Also, we're not killing him, remember?
See, that right there is mixed perfectly. Drax can be one of the most powerful warriors in the galaxy, while also being humorous, caring, and sad.
I get it, man. They seem really special.
They are the only thing that matters. My Hovat was the most fearless maid I've ever known. She brought me peace even during times of war. My Camarilla. My innocent little Camarilla. She was the best of us both. Despite her meager stature, they both were.
That scene right there is why Drax is my favorite character in the game, mostly because he is the only one out of all the Guardians to actually struggle with his promise that was given to him by the Matriarch. And you can really feel that emotion, you can feel that.
Without it, I will have nothing.
And that's not even the only scene where he is written with such deep emotions.
In Catathian religion, we believe that in order to reach Ultaf, one must lead a life filled with purpose, and that failure to do so results in banishment to Sarduth. Our families have been cast out of paradise, Peter Quill, and into nothing.
Nikki, the daughter of Quill, a Nova Corps Centurion officer, whatever the hell that means, and who Nikki believes to be her father, is Star-Lord. Also, Nikki later becomes the Matriarch because of a run-in with an Infinity Stone that was fused with dark energy or an entity. Nikki also later finds out that Star-Lord isn't even her real father, and Quill isn't even her real mom either. Quill took in Nikki after her parents were killed, and that just happened to be around the same time that she hooked up with Star-Lord. Now, you've been hearing me talk about the Matriarch and the Promise, and I want to shed some light on it for a minute because it is a big part of the story and affects the characters tremendously. So, at the start of the game, the Guardians are trying to find a monster to sell to Lady Hellbender, and in the process they find an Infinity Stone, but what they didn't know is that it was fused with a dark energy named Magus, who feeds off people's desires and turns faith into actual energy. Magus needs a host to use his abilities, so it lashes onto Nikki, using her to help enslave thousands across the galaxy by tricking them into believing that Nikki, now known as the Matriarch, can bring all of their loved ones back. But Nikki is also stuck inside of her own promise as well, but hers is by choice.
What are you two?
No!
Don't believe it, Peter. This isn't real. She's being tricked. She never should have been here.
After Star-Lord finally convinces Nikki that she can keep on going without Quill, Adam Warlock, the previous leader of the church, bottles up Magus inside of him in an attempt to destroy it. But when that fails, they all have to work together and use the Soul Stone to contain Magus inside of the Soul Stone.
Ain't no time to make up for what happened, you dumb scut! Just drop it!
No! Then the idiot to release this freak! I'm gonna be the one who puts it back in his bottle!
Now, I want to talk about the gameplay for a minute. Each mission or level is pretty well put together. The only bad thing about them is that even if it's a whole different terrain, sometimes they feel similar to each other, almost like a reskin of a different level. Not that I think they actually are reskins, but when you compare them to levels like Nowhere and Seknarf 9, they're just so unique and full of life. And I want to say that the art style in this game is pretty basic, and it's not fully a bad thing. It's just kind of has that same style and look to it as like Jedi Fallen Order. So with that being said, there is not a whole lot to complain about. The game is pretty well optimized even when playing it on the PS4, but the visuals on the PS5 are definitely more crisp than the PS4. But it's not a big enough difference to make me go drop $500 on a new one. Fighting in this game starts off a bit boring, but as you get more abilities, it does get way better, and I understand what they were going for. You're playing as Star-Lord, the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so to be able to control and direct them in a fight makes the player feel like they're more running the show. But on paper it sounds good, but then once it's in the game, it's just an input mashing simulator. Also, I feel like trying to control 4 players at the same time could be a bit overwhelming for some people, but like I said, in my opinion, I enjoyed the fighting, especially near the end of the game when you are fully maxed out on upgrades, although I do think that a great alternative to controlling them would to be actually able to switch between characters. Not only would it be better gameplay wise, it would make the replayability of the story way higher. In my opinion, I think this game is pretty good and honestly exceeded my expectations. I would rate the story of this game an 8 out of 10 and the gameplay a 6 out of 10. I'm really interested to see if they make a second one, and if they do, I hope they just improve upon the story of this game. But with that being said, thank you all for watching, and if you did enjoy, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Also, tell me what you thought about this game in the comments, and I'll see you later.